I Like Me Better by LeilahMoon, read by Ella Makes Mabella. Chapter 4. It had been a few weeks of trying to find classes within Hogwarts, and Hermione was still somewhat confused. Her rational mind had considered all the staircase possibilities 5 times over. However, the stairs of the castle were, unfortunately, not logical. On this particular morning, Hermione was walking towards her defense against the dark arts class and feeling fairly confident she knew where to go when a hand grabbed the back of her cloak, pulling her roughly into a nearby alcove. She quickly raised her wand and shouted, "Let me go!" There was a ruffling of ropes, and a voice said, "Sorry, it's just me, Draco." Hermione paused and decided to pocket her wand. "Oh, hello." "Yeah, I wasn't sure how else to get your attention." "I imagine there are other ways than accosting a girl in the corridor," Hermione stated. He shrugged. "I suppose, but you do know the position I'm in?" "Do I?" Of course, at this point she knew his standing on certain wizarding opinions and values, but she wasn't about to let him off easily. "It's difficult to explain. Do you think we could meet in the library this evening?" "Are you suggesting a clandestine arrangement, Malfoy?" She hoped the use of his surname would reinforce her annoyance at the whole conversation, and, to her surprise, he gave her a confirming look. "I suppose. Will you be there, Granger?" "Fine. What time?" Hermione asked. "Does 8 p.m. sound okay?" "Okay," she stated. "I'll see you there." Draco shrugged, as though he was doing her the favor, and strode casually towards his own destination. Hermione huffed as she struggled to find her bearings again. Chapter 5. Hermione was eating her evening meal at the Gryffindor table and feeling progressively more nervous as her meeting with Draco crept closer. Harry and Ron were set away from her, farther up the table. However, their presence only served to increase the anxiety. "It's no wonder no one can stand her," Ron muttered as her fingers tapped repetitively on the table. Shocked at this admission, Hermione's eyes widened and she felt the familiar burn of hot tears begin to form. Harry watched as she stood quickly, shoving her belongings into a satchel, and strode from the great hall. "I think she heard you," he mumbled. "So?" said Ron, but he looked a bit uncomfortable. "She must have realized she's got no friends." Hermione had, of course, realized this. It was just that she wished it weren't true. Reaching the library, she slumped into one of the comfy library chairs and recalled finally feeling at home on the Hogwarts Express, talking about books with Draco. This new sensation had been quickly extinguished, as she came to realize he didn't particularly care for her either. She sighed in defeat and pulled Hogwarts, a history, closer towards her, trying to get lost in its words rather than ruminating on her own thoughts. After a time, the world began to fade around her. "Hermione?" A voice eventually questioned, breaking into her silence. She blinked a few times, and as her eyes adjusted, murmured, "Yes?" "Sorry, I didn't realize you were asleep." "It's fine. Have you been here long?" Draco paused. "No, only a few minutes." "Oh, okay." Her consciousness was beginning to reform. "What did you want to talk to me about?" "Well, I guess I missed you." Hermione almost laughed. "You? The great Draco Malfoy miss a mere muggle-born like me? What has the world come to?" Draco's eyes darkened, and Hermione wondered whether she had gone too far. "Sorry," she muttered. "No, you're right. I was wrong to judge you, but, well, it's all I've known." Hermione frowned in confusion, so Draco said, "I was taught that muggle-borns are inferior, scum, less than those who are pureblood." He paused as to evaluate her reaction. She appeared neutral, and he continued. "The stories I was told, well, I guess I was a bit scared too. Some books say you steal our magic." Hermione did laugh this time. "Sorry, what?" "I know it's hard to believe, but people like you, hate is all I've known." Draco took a breath. "I really enjoyed talking to you on the train, and it felt like I was finally able to be me." She didn't interrupt him, but simply gazed at him through her bright blue eyes. "That made me angry. How could I enjoy spending time with someone inferior to me? It made me start questioning everything. Oh, I'm still questioning. I'm confused. You're intelligent. You make me laugh. He cut off. "And what?" "Nothing," he said, blushing. "Nothing. I just didn't expect this to happen." Hermione shrugged. "Right, well, what do you want from me?" "I want to be friends," Draco said. "At least I'd like a chance to be a friend." Even though I'm inferior? He shook his head. You could never be inferior. She considered him, this strange pale-faced boy, asking her to be his friend despite admitting he was brought up to hate her. Hermione wasn't entirely sure how she felt about Draco now, but as she had already been reminded once that evening, she supposed she could do with a friend. "How about we walk to Potions together tomorrow, then?" Hermione asked. Draco at least had the sense to look somewhat embarrassed as he said, Why don't we meet in the evening, so no one else is around?" That made sense. He didn't want to be seen around her. Right. The tears were falling again before she could control them. Hermione grabbed her books and walked quickly from the library, heading to the first place she could find to be alone. To be continued. Thank you for listening to today's chapters of I Like Me Better by LeilahMoon. If you would like to stay up to date on upcoming chapters and stories, you can follow me on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Tumblr, or AO3.